একটু পরে 10 মিনিট।
A very good morning to all of you who have joined us today for the day 6 of this national webinar on postgraduate education in homeopathy, organized by Homeopathic Science Congress Society in collaboration with Homeopathy 360, supported by CCRH and all PG homeopathic institutions of India. So we are here to explore and pave a new path for homeopathy and its I think sir, किसी का audio, somebody's audio is on. Yeah, now it's fine. So we welcome to this day 6, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the 5 days which have passed by, and we are really grateful to all the speakers as well as chairpersons and co-chairpersons for joining us today, as well as for the last 5 days, and as well as tomorrow that is the last day of this PG webinar. So I'm really thankful to Dr. M.K. Sahani sir, who has joined us today and with his gracious presence, and he's the mastermind of this webinar series of postgraduate education. That is one of the best webinars which is being organized during this lockdown period, as well as Dr. Amit Sahani sir, the organizing secretary, this Dr. Sanjiv Kumar Singh sir, the organizing president, as well as the coordinator of today's webinar, and Dr. Vivek Kumar Shail sir, the organizing secretary. I'm also thankful to Mr. Manish Jain, the director of Jain Publishers, who was working to promote homeopathic knowledge to all the fraternity free of cost. So I'm thankful to him also, and my whole team of Homeopathic 360, as well as Homeopathic Science Congress Society, for giving us this opportunity to be a part of this great event of this year. So without wasting any more time, I just want to guide you about this software. That guys, you have a chat box on your screens wherein you can type your queries and send to us by pressing the button next to the box. So we'll be discussing the question answers at the end of the webinar. If there is less of time, then we'll try our level best to solve your queries through. So I hope everybody will be with us during this webinar. And now I think I should invite our coordinator of the day, Dr. Sanjiv Kumar Singh sir. He is BHMS MD, PGDHHMs from Symbiosis, and also working as an associate professor at GD Memorial Homeopathic Medical College, Patna. He is also working as the General Secretary, Scientific Standing Committee of Homeopathic Medical Association of India. So we are glad that we have him here as the coordinator of the day, and he will guide you to the session further. So I hand over the session to him, sir. To you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jessica, for your deliberation, and thanks to Mr. Manish Jain and whole team of Homeopathy 360. You have already explained about the seminars and all. No, since last 6 days we are working, and you are working especially very hard for all these things. So thank you so much, and thanks to Dr. M.K. Sahani sir. Really man behind all this scene, no, and it's we are fortunate that today we are going to have a session from him, and I welcome all the participants. Also I welcome all the our dignitaries, chairperson Dr. A.B. Jadhav sir, co-chairperson Dr. Syamal Mukherjee sir, and eminent speaker of this country, Dr. M.K. Sahani sir and Rajat Chatterjee sir. So before proceeding, I would like to introduce our chairperson, Dr. A.B. Jadhav sir, first. Dr. A.B. Jadhav sir, it's my great pleasure to introduce you, MD, PhD Home, and he is the principal of most prestigious institution of homeopathy in India, Bharati Vidyapeeth, Pune, Maharashtra. Several research paper he has published in recognized national and international journals. He is associated with the several research projects, author of 2 books. He was the delegates conference of 70th Congress of Liga Medicorum Homeopathica Internationalis 2015 at Brazil, International IELTS Conference and Exhibition at Dubai in 2017, attended with poster presentation on role of phytolacca in management of obesity. He is PG guide in the Department of Materia Medica. So now I request you, sir, to please say few words on this occasion, sir. Dr. A.B. Jadhav, sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm most thankful to the organizing the meeting and speaking of the Sahani and given the opportunity to chair the session. And we would like to contribute as much as possible for the benefit of the homeopathy. And I will say you may start your session further.
Thank you so much, sir. Dr. A.B. Jadhav, sir. Now our co-chairman, Dr. Syamal Mukherjee, sir, is with us. It's a pleasure for me to introduce you, sir. Dr. Syamal Mukherjee, sir, professor.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Dr. Syamal.
Namaskar. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. So let me introduce, sir. Let me introduce you first. Dr. Syamal Mukherjee, sir. Principal.
My name is Dr. Syamal Mukherjee.
Sir, just wait, sir. Just wait, sir. Just wait, sir. Let me introduce you, sir, first.
Mukherjee, sir, just wait.
Just wait, sir. It's my pleasure
Yes,
to
sir.
introduce. Yeah, it's my pleasure, sir, to
Dr.
introduce
Syamal
you.
Mukherjee, Principal DNA Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital.
Let him
And
give his introduction.
hello.
Yes, 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 sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. I think he has left the room. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
You are audible, sir.
Mukherjee, sir.
Hello.
Mukherjee, sir. Mukherjee, sir. Can you hear us? Dr. Mukherjee. Can you
Hello.
hear us?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
You are audible. You can speak.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
You are audible, sir.
So I think he needs to join again. I'll just call him and guide. Hello. Yes. Sir, he'll join us in a second. I think there was some technical error, so he'll refresh and join again.
Okay.
So by the time you can introduce him,
Okay.
Dr. Sanjiv,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, Dr. S.
Yeah.
So let me introduce our two eminent speaker of today's session. First of all, I would like to introduce Dr. M.K. Sahani, sir. And it's a really great pleasure for me to introduce Dr. M.K. Sahani, sir. And what to say about Dr. Sahani, sir? I can say Dr. M.K. Sahani is synonym of homeopathy. Dr. M.K. Sahani educationist as well as known practitioner of homeopathy, was elected unanimously chairman of the Education Committee of Central Council of Homeopathy, Government of India, New Delhi. Dr. Sahani had been serving the Central Council of Homeopathy for the last 22 years as elected member. He was member of the various committee as well as chairman of the Homeopathic Literature Committee. His long journey in teaching accumulated as vast storehouse of information, finally elevating to the authorities level of professors. With his deep interest in homeopathic philosophy and ambition to visualize in practice the master in repertory, materia medica, and homeopathic philosophy. Soft spoken Dr. Sahani is popular among the patients for whom his caring heart experiences the pain and misery, giving solace to them. His patients are distributed in and around the globe. He is now accepted as expert and patients are referred for his expert opinion. He had various activities related to homeopathy and was deeply involved in the foundation of Research Institute of Sahani Drug Transmission and Homeopathy at Patna, for which he was the founder managing director and later on took up the highest position of it as chairman. RISDTH flourished and now established as non-government organization working basically for the research and development of homeopathy. He was born on 17th September 1952, had his schooling at Xavier's School, Hazaribagh, Jharkhand, and graduated at AN College, Patna. He completed his BHMS course from Bihar University and MD from SKH Medical College and Hospital, Beed, Maharashtra. He is the first PhD from
Hello.
MEHS. His father is late Dr. Bandhu Sahani, a popular physician who discovered transmission of homeo drug energy from a distance. Dr. Sahani has extended the discovery of his father to
Hello.
great extent. Presently, Dr. Sahani is the only expert for the transmission of homeo drug energy from a distance. Recently,
Hello.
his article is published in International Peer-Reviewed Journal, Journal of Critical Review. So
Hello.
it's a great pleasure, sir, to have you on this occasion, on this platform. I, our co-chairman has already joined. Dr. Syamal Mukherjee has already joined. Sir, hello, Dr. Syamal Mukherjee, sir. Dr. Syamal Mukherjee, sir.
Hello.
Can you listen me?
He is in traveling, he is on the wheel.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Noise is coming.
He
He's
cannot
traveling.
get the right connection. He is traveling.
What to do?
শ্যামলদা বলো, বলতে থাকো।
He, he should
ডক্টর
wait for a
ডক্টর
while
Hello.
মুখার্জি,
because
ইউ
the
কন্টিনিউ, ইউ
internet
কন্টিনিউ।
connection may be.
Dr.
Hello.
Syamal Mukherjee, sir.
ডক্টর মুখার্জি কন্টিনিউ।
Dr. Yasika,
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you talk to Dr. Syamal Mukherjee, sir. I think
Yes,
he's not
sir.
getting the voice from here.
Hello.
हाँ जी.
What to do?
Hello.
Better call him on the phone.
Yeah, better to call him.
Hello.
Dr. Rajat, sir, you may call
Yeah,
to him. You just
yeah.
give a call to him.
Hello.
বলো শ্যামলদা, বলো বলো শ্যামলদা, বলো শ্যামলদা, বলো।
Dr. Syamal Mukherjee, sir, are you listening us?
আরে বলো, তুমি বলছো না কেন? তোমাকে বলতে বলছে, বলতে শুরু করে দাও। আমরা শুনতে পাচ্ছি তোমাকে, তুমি বলতে থাকো।
And there is disturbance in the connection.
Actually, he is on the way. I think because of that, the
Yeah,
connection
yeah.
is very
He
poor.
must
Yes,
be,
sir.
he must be stopped somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
He must be
talking.
stopped
He's
somewhere.
he's talking.
Talking, but it is
His
not
audio is not
audible.
on.
Hmm. There is great problem with net connection, and it is
অডিওটা
if
মিউট
he
করা
is in
আছে, বন্ধ
traveling, it
আছে
is very difficult.
অডিওটা তোমার।
Dr.
Hello.
Sanjiv, I had a talk with him. You continue.
Good
Yes,
morning.
yes, yes, sir.
At the outset, let me thank the organizers of this program for inviting me and associating me with the August learned homeopaths present online from all four corners of the country. It is an absolute honor to me. One of very fundamental aim of education is constant evolution of knowledge, expanding of the horizon of the learner with deeper understanding of the subject. The post-graduation course in homeopathy has also evolved in the same manner with the equal notion. Our ancestral academicians, teachers, physicians could foresee with their profound wisdom and knowledge the necessity to move further the path of knowledge in the homeopathic medical science, because it is the constant seeking to know further which can make a better homeopath. Our master said, dare to be wise. I think it is most appropriate and most applicable to our postgraduate students. All of them are supposed to be independent thinker, a researcher by heart who possesses the ability of critical analysis of a problem from different perspective to come to an answer. Dr. Hahnemann first introduced and emphasized the concept of evidence-based approach in medical science when he told the key to the disease and its cure eventually lies in the symptoms. He is the first medical person to condemn the concept of theistic medicine. Today, when we talk about the holistic health, it is this wise human soul we are echoing with after 200 plus years. When we talk about lifestyle management today, are we not talking about the diet, the lifestyle? Did he not give these hints in his writings? His book Chronic Disease, our Organon carries the signature of thinker much ahead of this his time. Today, when we talk about yoga, which says union of human consciousness with the nature, are we not able to hear the highest purpose of existence? Therefore, it is the postgraduate study which gives them the opportunity to correlate the findings of advanced contemporary basic and medical sciences with the fundamentals of homeopathic principles so as to understand our own subject more clearly and profoundly. Formulation, additional alteration of the syllabus of PG homeopathy courses from time to time carries the signature of that quest. It is true that to be a homeopath, it takes a lifetime. After the 4.5 years UG course, the postgraduate course can show a wider avenue, but it is the dedicated individual only who has churned the ocean of knowledge in the homeopathy to achieve the blessings of Siddhi, of course, if not the immortality. With these words, I conclude my speech and pray to the Almighty for His blessings to make this effort a grand success. Thanks to all the organizers, especially I thanks to Dr. M.K. Sahani sir and today's two speaker, Dr. Rajat Chatterjee and our chairman, Dr. A.K. Jadhav, and Homeopathy 360, and Dr. Manish Jain. And thanks to all the participants. Thanks to all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Syamal Mukherjee, sir. He is principal at DND Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, and he has more than 25 years teaching experience. So thank you so much, sir, for your valuable speech as co-chairman. Now it's a time to introduce our next eminent speaker of this session, Dr. Rajat Chatterjee, sir. It's a pleasure for me, sir. Rajat Chatterjee, sir, PhD from West Bengal University of Health Science, MD from Calcutta, NIH, Principal and Administrator, the Calcutta Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, the oldest homeopathic institution of Asia. It's a very prestigious institution. 25 years of professional experience, 20 years of experience in teaching at a state government institute, author of 3 books, one of which on cardiology from Jain and others from IBPP, a resource person of CCH, CCRH, NIH, and many more. Many publications in a peer-reviewed journal already published, Department of Head of Materia Medica, having experience of 12 years, presented many papers in international and national level seminar, principal investigator of research project under the West Bengal government. It's my privilege to introduce you, sir. And now I request our today's speaker, Dr. M.K. Sahani, sir, to present your valuable paper, sir. So we are going to start today's scientific session, and Dr. Sahani, sir, you are requested to present the paper.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjiv. And I am very much grateful that I have to speak before the most eminent personalities here, Dr. A.B. Jadhav ji, Dr. Syamal Mukherjee, and our colleague, Dr. Rajat Chatterjee. Today's subject we have just today we are starting with the advanced studies in homeopathy, which is one of the third subject for the part 1 MD course. Friends, to have the advanced homeopathy, one used to feel that whether it is something different than the homeopathy. But what I, being associated with many of our colleagues at the Central Council of Homeopathy, earlier when this subject was introduced into the arena of PG courses, only the idea and objective behind it was to make the unified and integrated study of all the subjects related to the homeopathy, which is required for the, not related means which is required for practice of the medicines as a system as a whole. This is very essential factor that we should be distinguished as a homeopath or as this or that. But to have a big for the public opinion and for the public image, it should be that we are a practitioner. So this image is very important for any of the system of the medicines. So with these words, I would like to present before you how we are going to introduce this subject to the students. The basic thing that the topic is involved is the unifying factors. So I would like to speak on the unifying factors, what is unifying factors and how we can associate with the homeopathic system of medicine. May I request you to put me on my presentations? Yeah, thank you. So my topic is unifying concept of life during the health, in the health and disease and medicines. And I'll be talking especially what is required for the homeopathic perspective. First, I would like to present you about the concept of the unifying factors, unifying concepts, what it is, and how it is there, how we can think about the unifying factors for the health, for the disease and the medicines, and then we'll go into the homeopathic perspective. See, what about the not irrespective of the human beings or of the medical professions, it is that what we are This is one of the greatest curiosity for all of us. We are not, and how we have existed and how we came into on this earth and who has created ourselves. Who is the creator and who is the persons behind all the scenes? This question is raised in, I think, each and every individual who is born on this earth. So, we are also aware that our life is bounded. It has got the limitations, and it is between we consider the life only between the birth and the death. And beyond that, beyond the birth and the death, when we are not here on this planet, what we are and where we are, it has been a matter of discussions and the metaphysics. So the aspect of understanding the things in a whole, the complete totality, this concept is very important for all of us, to have a complete totality of the everything. So as a persons, we are connected with the every things. We have the problem and we have the solutions. So we have the problems, solutions, and we have the rest, entertainment also. And all these things requires to be associated and compiled together so that we can have a better understanding about the life. Understanding about the life is very essential, especially for the medical system of medicines, where we have to consider the man as a whole. Earlier, I feel that in our MD course, there was a topic, man in health and man in disease. So what is this man is very important. And this is the idea that has been conceived, tried to be unified, the integrated approach for the man in the health and the man in the disease, so that one can understand the transitional stages also, as well as the alternating and the changeability that is there within our life. We get changed into the disease and we get changed into the health, and we remain the same, and only the status gets changed. This important understanding we have to make into our life and our medical practice also, that will help us to understand the basic philosophy of practice. Friends, the essential nature we can divide into the two factors. One is the metaphysics and other is the science. What is the science? Science is just the factors which have been systematized knowledge based on the perceptible phenomena that we sense with our senses. Important for us. Our sensational impression is important. This is the area, this is the domain where we have to. And beyond this, we cannot deny the domain of the metaphysics. Beyond this, there are something else. So, unifying
I think some network issue is there. He's joining very soon. Just
Dr. Sanjiv sir will be joining again. Refresh karke na. He knows. Refresh karke join ho jaye.
Okay. So something was the problem. So as a patient and the solutions, we have to get into the solution. We have to get into the solutions of combining the metaphysics and the science together to understand the medicines as a whole. This is important thing, and this is the only things that where we differ from any other system of the medicines. Because Dr. Henneman, who had the vision to have unified visible and visible together. So this is the combined aspect of the invisibility and the visibility that we should have for the practice understandings. Now, as a unified aspects, which is required for the homeopathic clinical practice, what are the things? The relationship between what? The relationship between the life, relationship between the life. Life means life which exists during the disease and life which exists during the health. And then also the life which is existed in the universe and the life which is visible and life which is invisible. So all these are the relative factors. Then we have to diagnose with keeping these things background into our mind. And then we have to make the management, and this is our professionalism. This is the aspect, unifying aspects required for the homeopathic clinical practice. Now, professional medical doctor, homeopathic doctor, what we have? We have the internal agreements. Agreements means we have the commitment. We have the commitment to serve between the art and the science. This is the domain where we have to practice. This is the indefinable quality such as the intuitions. Then that we have to generate. We have to generate, be seated in the clinic, we have to be intuitive enough to understand the personality. And then the specific skills is very much important. These are the professionals' requirements for the medical practitioners. Now, development of the single medical is most familiar, and now the government of India is also looking for the integrated system of the medicine, where the one in everything we can get. So we have the challenges to prove. The challenges lies in the consultations at the heart of what defines the good general practice. Now we have the good medical practice, GMP, and we have a good general practitioner also is very important for us. Then the range of theories and models, so many theories are there. Our homeopathy, our allopathy, our Ayurveda, so many. So understanding the relationship, how we can move or have it go from one place to the another. This is important. And the wide range of the subjects that is required to make us a professional. We have to start from the anatomy, we have to start from the physiology, and we have to cover all the 12 subjects together. And beside these 12 subjects also, we have the social interactivity. So these are the things. So unlimited range of the disease and unlimited range of the learning. This is the area where the doctor stands. A doctor doesn't mean that his education is complete, and it will never complete. We have the incomplete understandings. We have to accept this fact. Our knowledge will never become complete, and with these unlimited factors, where within these limitations, we have the challenges to prove our efficacy. So lack of unifying model is precisely because the core activity of the homeopathic medical. Now, what is there? Now, when we are too much when we have the too much emphasis on one aspect, then we will be giving less emphasis on the other subjects. So reductionist or the two-dimensional formula is required, and sense of complexity is largely by intuitive recognitions of patterns or scripts in the patient or the presentations. There is finite and indiscriminate number of skills and attributes that informs good practice. So ACH job role demands competence in particular combinations of knowledge, skills, attitude, and personal quality. These are the requirements. Then the unifying model of the homeopathic practice. It should be a synthesized, existing research-based competence model. Research-based. Every patient that we see, every patient that is with us, they are a subject or object for the research. Then combinations of research, discussions, and close observations is essential factor, and subtle interactions between the core activity, that is the life, disease, and the medicines. So this is the hierarchy of relationship, diagnosis, holistic approach, primary care, secondary care. So we have to create unifying all these factors, then only our completeness will come. The similar diagnosis, it is the professionalism. Professionalism, it lies with our colleagues, it lies with our practice, it lies with our diagnosis, it lies with the relationship, it lies with every situation. So it is a management system. It is a complete management system. Our medical practice, our homeopathic practice, whatever way we have adopted, whatever speciality we have adopted, it is important that we should adhere to the best medical and management practice for us. So majority of the humankind, a relatively limited collection of the knowledge. We all have the limitations of the knowledge about the universe. What we see, what we observe, we exist in a, and what we try to explain is the myth. They are the myth and the story for the others. Life as unique miniature version of the universe. We represent every individual life is like a miniature version of the universe. And disease as invading phenomena trying to capture this domain. And medicine is the support system for us. And applicability of the definitive principle is required. So the challenge between the life, the uniqueness of the life, where the entire universe is embedded into it, and the disease which is trying to capture, which are mysterious in nature, and the medicines that is also required to be served, is the applicability of the definitive. We have to follow the definitive principle. We cannot keep on changing our principle. We cannot keep it. We have some extent of the flexibility, but we cannot go beyond that. That flexibility doesn't limit, because if trying to deviate from our principles, try to deviate from our one or other principle, we can be regarded as a jack of all trade but master of none. And without becoming a master, how you can dare to be called as a professionalism? So the CETA, now just let me go one by one. The human consciousness. What is human consciousness? Exploring the systemic collection and sharing of the information. That what is we explore, what we get. This is the only area of the consciousness, and trying to establish the relationship. Whenever we are walking into the street, we see something, some object, we try to relate with ourselves. Then enhancing the quality of learning and keeping practical with the theoretical understanding. So this is also very much important, keeping practical with the theoretical understanding. The theoretical understanding is the base, is the behind, and applications is at the practice. So tangible evidence that indicates the mutual beneficial correlationship. Research and teachings are the two core of academic traits of the modern university, and policy determines the time allocated. Now, another important aspect is the research and the teaching. A practitioner and of the medical system, he is at the same time learning, and he is the same time teaching, and he is same time making a research. So this is a unified aspect of learning, teaching, and research approach that makes a complete medical professional. Complementary insights in mutual interactions. We must have the mutual interactions between the research, teaching, and the academics. Substantial changes are observed in the case of participatory or active learning. So when we have this activity is there, so we can see and observe the change, and the adhesive force of the learning is the base, and educational concept holistically combine research and the education. Friends, themes of the life. What are the themes? Basic idea that applies to the all organism, connect many things in the exploration of the life. We have to connect. It is multifactorial origin. Life is nothing. Life is a multifactorial. From where it comes and where it will go, it is only a matter of imagination. It is a matter. But what is the reality? It is the domain of our sensation. So biological system has properties, functions based on the arrangement and interaction of its parts. Together, the parts of our life body enables us to move. We cannot move. because this is unified pattern. The biological pattern is unified. It has to be there. So example, organ system, there are the contraction of the muscles attached to the bone and the movement. Then blood vessels then supply these parts of the organ. So a system, whole system is functioning over here. Then the biological system is associated, is existing between the ecosystem. Ecosystem, it has got the plant obtained from the water and the soil. An animal acquired from the plants, we get the food from the plants, and then the chemical that is there, we return it back. So there is an ecological system, and among that, our whole of the organism is associated. So we cannot say that the biological system is separate from the eco pattern. So eco pattern, and it is associated, and both are combined factors. This component of the, we can say the biological system is a component of the ecosystem also. So, and then ecosystem, community, populations, and the individual. So these are the dimensions: ecosystem, community, populations, individual, and interactions of organisms with each other and with the non-living environment. Put the system in ecosystem. The biological system themes applies to all level of the life and the biosphere, all way down to the molecule in the cells. So the cellular basis of the life, we have already learned that organisms are made of the cells, and level of the organizations of the cell structure is there. Cell is combined together to make a particular type of the tissue, and a group of the tissue makes the combinations of the organ, system, and the organism. So what we are observing, my purpose to put all these facts only to get your imaginations and combining. The idea of unifying, it is there, and we cannot ignore at the cost of the other, or one or other. This is things that we have to think about it. So then cellular basis, most of the multicellular organisms are specialized for different functions. No, we started with the amoeba, our life journey, from where we started, with single cellular animal. Then we gradually get multiplied into multicellular, became the multicellular animal. And with the multiplicity, there are the specializations. At one time, the amoeba has to contribute everything together. He has to digest. The one cell have got the digestive functions. Every function is there. But when it comes to the multicellular organism, then what is there? There are some setup of the tissue get ready for the one type of the functions, and other setup of the tissue get right for the other system. And there is a connectivity system of the nerve cells that transmit the impulse that control our muscles. Then multicellular organism develops and survival are based on the function and interactions of its many cells. The cellular basis of life is the theme you will encounter often as you explore the living world. Structure and functions. The relationship between the structure and function is apparent in the entire organism and the physiological system that serves theme. The structure determines function, functions reflects structure. So function and functions reflects the structure. So they are the demonstration of structure. They have got the demonstrative aspect of the function, and technically they are inseparable. They cannot be separated from each other. And elliptical wings. Now just see the flying birds that have maneuver in the habit of elliptical wings. And why it is like that? It's slotted between the primary feathers to prevent stalling in low speeds. The small chick can change its course within 0.03 seconds, elliptical wings. So they can make use of it. And they have to maintain between the high speed and the low speed, and from the high altitude to the low altitude. These are the structural functions that is embedded in our life also. Many a time we are driving in the mind is working so fastly with the anxiety, tension, restlessness, all where we have the fast movement of the mind. And when we are entertaining, they're slowing down. And then when we are sleeping. So these are the diversity of the structure and functions. They manage themselves to be there in their life. Then dynamic soaring wings, height, lift, and the wings. These are the dynamic soaring wings are there for our life. Structure and functions, again, birds, bones. Now, just to give you the example, adaptability. This relates to the adaptability. Why some of our bones are very strong and why some bones are so porous? They are not so much strong. They are honeycomb structures. Why it is that? That is because of the adaptations of the functions for the functions. So it's the same structure get adapted for at the different purpose, but it is the part of the same thing which has adopted or made a change in their structure and which is visible. So we cannot separate the one part of the body with the other part of the body. It is the flying coordinated aspects of the life. And the reproductions and inheritance. We have learned that life begets life. We cannot, a dog is born out of the dog, a man is born out of the man. The offspring inherits unit of the informations. Now, we get the information from our parents, as a genes, and then these genes, they get transferred and they have the resemblance for the family. So, and made of the information rich molecular called the DNA. So where we are starting from our parents, and there what is the communications and what is the relationship there. We have during the case taking for the clinical practice, we have the past history, we have the family history, we have the so many things only, and we have until we have this type of the thought, we cannot associate. So many of the students are asking, sir, why we are asking the past history? Sir, why we are asking the family history? We have to tell them. We have to satisfy them that it is because you are connected. They are connected, and connectivity has got the importance. And until even if it is unknown, even it is not known, some area and some aspects of the understanding should be there. So each cell of the body contains copy of all DNA that were inherited from our mother and father. And when a cell divides, it copies the DNA and passes the genetic information to each of the two cells in process. So this is the phenomena that keeps on going. And then in human, the egg cells from the mother fuses with the sperm cells of the father. Then what happens? The fertilization takes place and the DNA gets unified and resultant DNA is created. Resultant DNA. And this is the inherited DNA has got the transfer. Now the individuality is created. A man born out of their father and mother, he is different than him. Why? Because father's gene and mother's gene get unified to create a resultant, and this uniqueness is there. But what is there? At the base, the father gene is there, mother gene is there, and all they get unified and they are inherited and inherited. So we have the instinct of the past, but it is get transferred into our present interactions with the society. When we are born, further we have the journey, life journey continues, you keep on going. This is the continuity, and every moment and every step we go ahead in our life. What happens? We simply go on changing and adapting the new environment and things. So it is not a static thing. We cannot decide a medicine simply because we have observed and keep the things into one mind. we have to think about, we have to keep in that this object whom we are going to treat is a mobile person, is a changeable person, is a person who keep on changing, who keeps on changing. So nothing is constant. Nothing is constant. The moment and during that constant, we are introducing a medicine there, and that introduced medicine, what it do? That introduced medicine, what it do? It makes some changes in the waves, the pattern, to make you feel better. To feel better is the good things that we want. So now we have, besides this internal element, we have the environmental element. So no organism is completely isolated from its surrounder. Who can say that I can survive? I can survive within my house? No. We are living in a time when everything is, we have the isolation. Social distancing has to be maintained. But do you feel comfortable with the social distancing? The lack of the social distancing is causing a great stress phenomena on our life patterns. You can see the object. So environmental interactions is going on. No, it cannot be completely isolated. And as a part of the ecosystem, I told you earlier, as a part of the ecosystem, each organism interacts continuously with its environment. I am now seated at Patna. You all are seated around the different part of the country. Do you feel that we have got united at this moment? And this system has been created to interact between, even we are separated from the space. So time, space, they do not act for the discontinuation. So continuity is maintained. And like what we see, the plant obtaining the water, nutrition, soil, carbon dioxide, air, oxygen, sunlight, whatever, every time it is getting intermingled. And the transfer of chemicals between the organism and the environment is the key process of the ecosystem. It is a cyclic pattern. Cyclic pattern. Inside, we are breathing air, drinking water, eating food, and the waste is excreted. It is a cyclic pattern with the environment that we are maintaining. So there is a constant sensing and responding to change in the environment. Now, what is happening in the environment? We have the different type of the weather. After the rainy season, the winter comes. After the winter, the spring comes. And this is continuously changing. And in between, there are certain many other changes. So constant change is going on the environment also. They specialize the leaf of the Venus flytrap, since the light footsteps of a soon to be digested plant. The plant responds by rapidly folding the leaves together. So this response is important. There is a constant sensing and responding to change in the environment. The sun may cause organism to squint. The bark of an approaching dog causes you to turn your head quickly. So this is response. Whenever you listen a voice, immediately your head gets changed. Immediately you respond. So this responsibility is going on pattern for our life. Now energy and life. And within this environment, our biological system, our cellular system, there are the things that get generated is the energy and the life. Moving, growing, reproducing, and other activities of life requires energy. So all these are, they are represented in the form of the energy. Energy is obtained from the chemical reaction. Sugar, fats, and other fuel-like molecules in the food produces the energy. Then energy enters the ecosystem as sunlight. The plant are producer that convert the light energy into the chemical energy stored in the food, and animal and other consumers obtain their energy in chemical. So conservation of the energy. Energy exists in the ecosystem as heat. It exists in our organism as the heat. So it is a conservation of the energy keeps on going. No, energy is not destroyable. It is not destroyable. It comes from our understanding of the physics that energy is conserved. It gets only the change. So we are observing the change. So all organisms lose, and at the same time we regain the same. So the cycling of the energy keeps on going. Life on Earth depends on continuous supply of energy from the sun. Now I am connecting you to the planet. I am connecting you all to the planet. Our Earth system is getting energy from the sun, moon, and all the planets there. So planetary movement is going on. And now, what we call the regulations. Organisms that have the ability to regulate their internal conditions. From where the regulations we have to think. यहाँ से हो जाता है
वहीं के काम वहाँ भी प्लेसमेंट कर सकता है ना।
Sorry, there was a slight difference. So energy, I was talking about the connectivity of the energy. So ecosystem as sunlight, plant, and those things. So all organisms, this slide. Now we come to the regulations. Organisms have the ability to regulate their internal conditions, and how we regulate. We have been provided with a regulator. This is very unique for our life. Beyond with all these things, you have the regulator for your life, and for the regulator there is an overall regulator. Each organ has got its own regulator, and there is a central regulatory factor. The thermostat of the brain reacts whenever your body temperature varies slightly from 37 degrees Celsius. It then sends signal to the skin to produce sweat. Sweating helps the cool down, and panting is another example of cooling mechanism. It causes moisture from surface to the lung to evaporate. Then the ability of the mammals and the bird to regulate their body temperature is another example of homeostasis or steady state. The different mechanism enables organisms to regulate their internal environment despite changes in the external environment. So evolution and the diversity. This is another aspect that needs understanding. It explains the changes in the organism over a long period of the time. Today, I look something differently than I was there sometimes long back. Dr. Jadhav can tell me that when I first met him, at that time, my face was something like that. And today, he may be observing me like some different man. Adaptations allow life to acquire new characteristics in response to their environment. Now, this is why I have changed. Only to response to the environment and the process of the natural selection. I have changed only because I got impacted so many phenomena. So like some animals make their coats. Why we see the animals, the dogs have their fur on their body, the birds have the flies on the skin, and we also have some type of the adaptation mechanism. And what mechanism is that? The best mechanism we have been provided. We are called the highest evolved life organism, that is the mind. We are Homo intellecta. We are Homo sapiens with the spines. Now we have achieved to be called as a Homo intellecta. The study of evolution is helping healthy professionals understanding and disease-causing bacteria becoming resistant to the antibiotics drugs. Every day, the new diseases are coming, and diseases are getting new antibiotics are discovered, and they become health resistance. This is a continuous phenomenon, continuous, because of the diversity and evolution. And evolution is going on in the bacteria. The same bacteria make a different strain. Same viruses make their different strains. So we also are making the different strains. So environmental issues such as water and pollutions are changing how people think about their relationship with the biosphere. The population then evolves when it needs for the survival. So evolution and diversity, the darker beetle, just I am giving you the example here, just see the photographs, how it is getting adapted for the surviving. Darker beetles and more little survives longer and reproduces passing the genes. So this is a survival mechanism is very important. Whenever we are it is because universe has to continue. It will not end with us. I will die. Definitely I am going to die, but the universe will not die. It will have the continuity. So and for the continuity, the evolution process keeps on working. So we are changing. We have the offspring only to transfer our. It is a relay race. I say that life is simply one is a relay race, and when our duty is completed, it will be transferred to the other persons also. Great diversity exists among these domains of the living things. Bacteria, archaea, eukarya, evolution explains this diversity. Charles Darwin said, and Alfred Wallace worked on the idea of evolution by the natural selection. Natural selection is important. So he is who is fittest, he can survive. And our scientific inquiry. Beyond all these thoughts that I have just talked, there is only one thing that makes us understand the things, that is our scientific inquiry. And we have to ask questions about the nature. Asking is very important, then we can learn. Then use observations or experimentations to find the possible answer. So imaginations, asking, hypothesis, this is the aspect of the research methodology that we are teaching to our students. By fitting a radio transmitter onto the Atlantica turtle, researchers can monitor its movement. This can help researchers determine how large a nature preserve must to be support of the populations. Modern biology is changing human everyday life, and new findings about the DNA affects medicines and the agriculture. Research on the nervous system is improving the treatment of certain mental illness. The result of the stem cells research, animal cloning, environmental issue, genetically modified crops, or new way to treat the disease shows the impact of the biology. And technology applied scientific knowledge in a new way. In 2013, Australia created a prototype for a bionic eye. It sends an image to the microchip in the brain, allowing the user to see the image. And then through science, human learns about the solution to various problems. The scientific methods is able to give directions, adaptation for every inquiry. Technology, it produces a machinery of lengthening the life of perishable goods. So now we come to our homeopathic domain, 9th reform. Just recall your learning of the organon of medicine, spirit, mind, and the body. And very beautifully, Dr. Henneman has put it in the FI number 9. In the healthy condition of man, the spirit-like vital force, the dynamism that animates the material body, rules with unbounded sway and retains all the part of the organism in admirable, harmonious, vital operations as regard both sensation and function, so that our indwelling region-gifted mind can freely employ this living healthy instrument for the higher purpose of our existence. And medical practice requires understanding invisible plane and making them use at the visible plane. We have to develop understanding of the invisible things and make them their use at the visible plane. And Organon is divided into the 3 sections. And what is that? The theoretical, that is the invisible plane, dealing with the how and why the remedy act. Then dialectics mean the rule and the principle, and the practical. So this is very unified, what we call the Organon of Medicines. Organon of Medicines is the regulatory aspects for the practice of the medicines, where we must have the theory, we must have the regulations, and we must have the applicability. And Dr. Kent, his observation is that the common man, what they think about the life, about the problem. Doctor, I am suffering from this pain. Kindly do it. But what the doctor needs, he has to see something invisible things. He has to see what is causing the pain, what is the modality, what is the sensation, and then only he can reduce the pain. So common man attention is for the commonest, but we are as a physician have the understanding for something different than the common man. So a physician is what? Physician is a person who has developed a third vision, intuitive vision. So an intuitive vision, how you can have the intuitive vision? You can have the intuitive vision when we learn by looking into the invisible part and combining them, correlating them with the visible part. Very good writings about by Luc de Sepper, by explaining the Organon of Medicine. Receptive like a photographic plate, receives the image of the patient without preoccupations, preconceptions, or prejudice. Sympathetic listening it requires, but every homeopath can listen empathetically and establish a good rapport with the patient. This is the level where we have to come. We are descending. And Hahnemann realizations of the repertory. Now, what is repertory? This is another aspect that I have tried to put. Repertory is simply a unifying factor for the philosophy, medicines, and the problem. Unifying factor. Symptoms with tolerable accuracy, expressing them by the few letters. This is what this has been. It is called the foundation stone for the organ, for the repertory. So Hahnemann's realization for the repertory. Why he realized? He said, practice of medicine requires a music-like tuning of everything. A tune has to be created like a music. And repertory word is originated from the word during this time, the European era. The repertory was the synthesis of the musical pattern. So he selected. He was very much impressed by this idea of unification. So right from the beginning, my purpose was to explain and to you that the unifying factors is required for the practice of the medicines, and this understanding is able to help you with the practice of the medicines. So repertory is, what is repertory? It is an aid to the Metra Medica to apply the principle of medicines in homeopathy. And Dr. Hahnemann understood the symptoms as a fragment. What we observe from the patients, we observe the fragments, tukra, a small piece, and we require to unify them. Our purpose is to unify. Each patient is representing their symptoms in their different way, and we collect them during the case taking. And with this quantitative collections, we have to draw a qualitative collections. So converting the qualitative things into the quantitative things into the qualitative pattern is called the totality of the symptoms. That means you have collected so many things, and by unifying them, you have created. Like what we can say, there are several words are there, scattered in alphabeticals. Right from the beginning, we have learned several words. They are stored in the mind. And when we start talking, some of the words come together to make a sentence. And when the sentence is created, have a sentence, and when too many sentences are joined together, they create a story. And what is a story? It is the theme of each and every word that is embedded. So we have to say the quantifying makes you to qualify, quantifying and qualifications, quality. So quantity and quality are the aspect where we have to unify the pattern for the practice of the medicine. So these are the 5 simillimum group of the symptoms required. It is the repertorial way. So characteristic symptoms for the homeopathic medicines in his repertory, Dr. Jain has placed. In 155 FRM, I say, without any considerable disturbance from this employment, the most appropriate homeopathic remedy is only the symptoms of the medicines that correspond to the symptoms of the disease that are called into the play. The repertorial simillimum is like tuned musical simillimum. We say that tuned musical simillimum. How beautiful, how good it is to listen to the music created by our synthesizer. So modern pathology are accepted in large, partly by all schools of the medicines, and serve as the common basis for the therapeutic art. There are enough variations and differences, particularly in the general pathology, for understanding the chronic disease. Dr. Henneman has created a better understanding for the general pathology. The pathology as understood by the modern system of the medicines and pathology as understood by the Henneman was different. In homeopathy, the pathology is simply at the base pathology created at the vital principle. So, and what creates it? The miasma, the theory of miasma is related, and this is we can say that at the base of every pathology, we have to understand the existence of the particular type of the miasma. So, homeopathic medicine science views the facts of the universe in general and medical fact in particular from a vitalistic, substantialistic standpoint, that is from the standpoint to the substantial philosophy, and it is a vitalistic, and all the in homeopathic philosophy life, mind, and the fundamental verity of the universe is there. So these are the connectivity between the vitalistic and the homeopathic philosophy. According to Henneman in 77 FI, the nature of the chronic disease. The true nature of the chronic disease are those which owe their origin to a chronic parasitic miasm or germs, miasm, as we should say, a chronic parasitic microorganism. He says that they constantly extend, and notwithstanding the most carefully regulated mental or body habits, they never cease to torment their victim with constantly renewed suffering to the end of his life, if left to themselves without the aid of a special remedy for their relief. These are the source of great sufferings to the human race. The most robust constitution, the best habit, and the greatest energy of unaided vital principle are unable to resist them. So Henneman tells chronic disease are the test of the genius healing art, because they do not of themselves passes into the health unless the physician imitate my methods. Now see, this is the challenge of Dr. Henneman. Unless the physician imitate my method, he cannot expect to solve the highest problem of medical science, that of curing those important chronic diseases which have remained uncured until I discovered their true character and the proper treatment. What he says behind all these facts, when you come to understand this, and this is the nature of homeopathy. This is the aspect of the homeopathy. So homeopathy doesn't mean that it is separate from any other system of the medicines. It is like that. This is the understanding. Homeopathy is a principle, it's a concept that is required for this practice. So we have understood about the fixed chronic mild, we have understood about the semi-vital morbid mild. Semi-vital morbid. All chronic disease originate and are based on fixed chronic mild, which enables their parasitic ramification to spread through the human organism and to grow without end. That is there in the chronic disease. And then he further writes, chronic disease are semi-vital morbid mild of a parasitical nature, which can only be neutralized and annihilated by a more powerful remedy producing analogous effect. And expression of the chronic disease. How you can see the chronic disease. This is the file number 5, where he say the totality expression through the group of the symptoms. A patient is never represented by a single symptoms. Keep in mind, patient is never represented by and you cannot identify a patient by a single symptom. It is the totality of expression through the group of the symptoms where the repertorial matching is required to have a simillimum remedy. So we are going from everything has to be kept alive. It is a working principle has to be developed to have the totality expression of the life. So medicine is in the most natural form. What is the medicines now? Medicines, understanding about the medicines, understanding the natural property of each medicine through proving on the healthy persons. A unique concept. Unique concept. I say unique concept because before Hahnemann, nobody thought of proving the medicines on the healthy person. All the observations were the clinical patterns or as derived from the natures. So each medicines have their unique property to affect spiritual mind and the body. Each medicine has got. So each medicine represent a type of the life. Each medicine is representing a type of the life. And understanding the medicines to the symptoms. We have to understand the medicines through the symptoms, not by the nomenclature of the disease. If you associate the medicines with the disease, the idea of the unifying facts is gone. So understanding of the medicines is through the symptoms, that is subjective symptoms, objective symptoms, mental symptoms, and the completeness of a portrait. So a portrait is required. We are treating a person who is a portrait. So portrait is required, and it comes to the subjective, objective, and the mental presentations. So law of similia is a unified aspect of understanding. What is law of similia? We say it is the unified aspect of understanding that life, disease, medicines, a unified applicability. Life, disease, and medicines, it is a unified applicability. So homeopathic medical education represents what we have we have to study the medicines along with the life, and life along with the medicines, and medicines along with the disease, and disease along with the life medicine, and this circle has to be created for the medical. So we cannot separate them. So integrated aspects is required for the homeopathic medical system. And unifying system concept has been expressed by Dr. Hahnemann, which involves Organon of Medicine and repertory for the chronic disease. So applied clinical approach for therapeutic applications is only through the repertory. Therapeutics, we have a different understanding in the other system of medicine, but our therapeutic understanding is application of the medicines through the repertory. It is not, if you think differently and you act differently, the whole theme is becomes distorted. So homeopathic medical system education represents the unifications, integrated study with each subject integrated study with each subject. So this is the work of the life. This is the integrations. This is the integrations. I am integrated with you. You are integrated with me. Life is integrated. Disease is integrated. And this understanding is going to be created among the students so that we can have a better learning for the whole practice of the medicine. I don't say homeopathy, I don't say this or that. Being a practitioner is important, and for being a practitioner, it is important to have a work life that is integrations life. Integrations is important factors for us. So with this, I thank you all for my for a very patient hearing. If you can have any questions, please put it on the chat box now, and we can have the questions, some questions right now. And if some questions are left, you can email me, or you can write to me, or you can put it on the questionnaire. So thank you very much to you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sahani sir, for your inspiring and informative speech. How nicely you have you made us to understand what is life, which dwells between health and disease, and how to get the solution or remedy of the problems. So thank you so much, and a special thanks that whatever I am today in homeopathy, there is great role of yours. So keep blessing us and be inspiring to all of us, sir. So thank you so much, sir. And now it's a time to our next speaker, Dr. Rajat Chatterjee, sir. So I request you, sir, to proceed with your valuable speech, sir, your presentation. Dr. Rajat. Yes, sir, Dr. Rajat, sir. Sir, I think your audio is mute. Please unmute your audio, sir.
Okay, now.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
audible, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a nice speech of Dr. Sane. My sincere thanks and to Dr. Sane for making the platform for my presentation on evidence-based organon of medicine. He is a education person, nice education person, having a very huge experience in the field of homeopathic education. So naturally, just on the basis of his vast experience, he delivered his lecture of organon of medicine for the PG, especially for the PG students. They should know the depth of the study, because nowadays it is very easy to read. The reading is something like casual, but the study is something different from reading. So you should only get the essence of the organon of medicine whenever that same organon of medicine can be applied in the clinical field, in the clinical medicine, or in your perception of organon of medicine through your daily life, through your clinical practice, through your understanding of any disease, from even from applied physiology, applied anatomy, pathology, gynecology, obstetrics, up to clinical medicine. Like, it encompasses everything. So my topic, today's topic, I should convey my thanks to Dr. Sahani, Dr. Sanjiv, today's coordinator, Yashika, Manish, Jain, and all the teams of webinar, and obviously the teams of under leadership of Dr. Sahani, our homeopathic association, and just for providing me the opportunity to be a speaker to your august audience. And also my sincere thanks to Jadov sir, being a chairperson of this session. So my topic is today something. It is not as per routine based. It is evidence based organon of medicine because we are very much familiar with the evidence based practice of medicine. But what should be evidence based organon of medicine? That is my today's topic. And it is the Calcutta. You can see the college, Calcutta Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, the very old institute, as Dr. Sanjiv said. I'm the principal of that college. So homeopathy is currently spreading throughout the world, and there is an urgent need for scientific confirmation of its mechanism of action, of its usefulness. It may appear that all over the world that homeopathy is not so much prominent like that. It is a wrong assumption or wrong conception because homeopathy is currently spreading throughout the world, and it was underlying all over the world, not in India. It is flourished in India. It is flourished in this part of India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, well flourished. But even in European countries, it is too much popular. It is too much. If you go to the statistical part, it is too much popular in the European countries, even in the US, in the UK. So, but one thing that we lacking, that is the scientific confirmation of its mechanism of action. That's why our central government, since long till date now, they are allotting so much fund for the research purpose, for the scientific confirmation, just to make it the scientific background, because it is giving you a revenue, because it is a great part in our community, not only in our community, in all over country for the treatment purpose. So the scientific confirmation is one of the main thing, and in the scientific confirmation, you will be agree with me that the modus operandi of homeopathic medicine, how it acts, this is the part. Apart from the 12C potency, or the below potency, we know the scientific values, but whenever we reach to the higher study, like 30, 200, even 1M, 10M, so the action of the medicine, these are very important. I have one or two slides just to mention highlights on that part, because it is the part of Organon of Medicine. When Dr. Handyman, even at that time, he suggested the explanation of the modus operandi, how homeopathic acts like that. So this is the main thing. Scientific research on homeopathy is increasing. In the year 2000, you can see the PubMed data bank reviewed. It was only 1,675 studies at the year 2000. And if you compare after 15 years or 14 years at the PubMed, only related to homeopathy, the study was 5,535. This is the reference, as because this slide is a little bit old. If right now you can go to the PubMed only based, not I am not talking about Ayush, because within the Ayush, Ayurveda papers are too much in the PubMed series in comparison to homeopath. But I have doubt since last 4 years that the PubMed papers in the peer-reviewed journals, even the PubMed publications, probably, I'm not sure, but I am assured that it probably has crossed the Ayurvedic publications than homeopathic publications. So it was in the beforehand, when Ayurveda publications was much more, their peer-reviewed journals are much more in India. But right now, the homeopathic PubMed publications are also going very good, very good. Even it is a very good one. It was in 2014. You can see the increase in 2020 up to 2019. I know it is just doubled up. So PubMed indications are very good indications that research going on. Most of the PGTs, their human resources, I must say that the postgraduate studies, the postgraduate students must be utilized in all type of research papers, and even the research aptitude should be started, should be taken initiative from the since the UG level, because it is not that only one part in the PG, and also it is not in the Viva Voce. Right now it is in the syllabus. The Viva Voce is not there. Only the written question got in part in the there, but in during their internship period, during their housestepship period, even in the final year, in or in any paper, there should have something in which they can build their research aptitudes, so that during the PG tenure of 3 years, even with our Organon of Medicine, with our Maitre Medica, all the homeopathic literature, even our pharmacy repertory, everything we can need research, because there are a lot of virgin field of research. We can make it, or we should make it. So now, Organon of Medicine. What is Organon of Medicine? We all are aware that it is literally it is an instrument. It is the investigation. But what is the why instrument for? instrument for applied medicine. Whenever it is a simple guiding instrument for applying your medicine. So it is nothing new. Organon is nothing philosophical. Most of the students think that Organon is very old. It was 1810, 1819, 1823, like the 5 edition, 6th edition in 1921. Even after so long, after 5th edition, so if Hahnemann was alive, then more than 100 publications were there. It is not like that. It is a simple book, the Organon of Medicine. First, this was the book that on community medicine you can see even with the precursors of 1792, 1796 of Friend of Health. Even till date, it is relevant. Your Friend of Health. I was just casually going through the Friend of Health more than 7-10 days back, and I was astonished to see the advice given by Hahnemann in the Friend of Health. The same thing is now you can hear in the mouth of WHO officials. All the things related to our sanitization, all the things, our distancing, social distancing or physical distancing, the separation, isolation, everything, the prevention, everything. It was written just you can even the English is not changed, in language is not changed in the 1790 to 1796. I am talking about the Friend of Health. Just think the foresightedness of our Hahnemann. And on the basis of that, ultimately he reached to 1810 to the first edition of Organon of Medicine after Medicine of Experience. So here he just gave a guideline how should we practice applied medicine, how should we practice clinical medicine. So it is our instrument. And my topic is evidence-based medicine. So what are the cardinal principles of homeopathy? We are well aware. We know about the cardinal, our vital force. We know about our individualization, the concept of minimum dose, the law of similar, all these cardinal principles that I am talking about now. Just one point, that is the holistic approach. And now you are all agree with me that the holistic approach is now acknowledged by all. Even in the Practice of Medicine book, if you go through the Oxford Clinical Medicine, if you go through the CMDT, if you go through even our latest Harrison book, everywhere it is written, just concentrate on the patient, not concentrate on the disease. The diseased person, you just concentrate on the person. You just concentrate the holistic approach and the case-taking part of the clinical medicine and the genetic medicine, genetics, everything. It is just like our homeopathic type of case taking. Even I must say that it is not the part of case taking of Organon and homeopathic philosophy. This was the case taking of practice of medicine. This was the case taking of medicine. That was just with Hahnemann's foresightedness and Hahnemann's innovative idea. Dr. Hahnemann just make it within the Organon of medicine. So don't think Organon of medicine separate. Don't think Organon of medicine separate from clinical medicine. So holistic approach, time tested. How it is time tested? Homeopathy considers the patient as a whole person rather than just to his illness, to the organism, the material instrument of life, and to disturbances of the dynamics which animates it with sensitivity and will. This is well known to all of us. In today's terminology, this is a therapeutic approach which takes into account the whole person in his or her completeness and complexity in present society or environment. So whether if we just like previous slides, if we say in this language only will keep only on the homeopathic students. They will be interested to hear like this, to write like this. But whenever we will be talking in the language of modern days or present scenarios, then in today's terminology we have to think like this, that it is a therapeutic approach which takes into account the whole person in his or her completeness and complexity in present society or present environment. That should be our change of it can make the Organon of Medicine update. This is the one. So we have to make the cross-sectional study because we have to study the man. How will you study a man? How the Dr. Sahani was talking about the life, the condition of life, how the man in his society. So whenever you have to diagnose a man, whenever you have to know a man, a person, then you have to know your society. So you should have a very good knowledge of your society. So this is called cross-sectional studies. Whenever we will be longitudinal studies, the longitudinal studies particularly we can go through the disease, how the disease evolved, what was the events, what was the sequence, how it happens, and not only the pathological cause of bacteria, viruses, parasitology, or anything, or mechanical causes, also the dynamic pathology. So, for satisfying the present scientific community or to patient or even scientific to yourself, you should have diagnosed all the miasmatic and the materialistic pathological cause. But the dynamic pathology also you should diagnose, because you have to reach to the simillimum. And to reach to the simillimum, you have to judge the man in his circumstances, the man in his society. So accessory circumstances already told by Dr. Hahnemann in very many places, even from the very beginning, with the requisite knowledge of the physician, even in the section 3, even in the section more than 83, like that, special circumspection, tactfulness, like that. So he mentioned it with intentionally, that to know the man, to judge the man in his society, you should have idea of accessory circumstances. Right now, it is called social medicine. And if you will be wondered to know that social medicine right now, it is within the science jurisdiction. It is, and within 1 or 2 years, this is the barrier between the arts, science, commerce, like that. It will be holistic. We know the educational approach is coming on. Whether it will be good or bad, that will time will say. But it is time tested from the developed countries, and it should be well known to us that to know a person, there should be nothing that this is scientific and this is artistic, because you know about the liberal arts, about the social medicine. These are all parts of science, because we have to know the society, the man, how he behaves in the society, how he reacts in the society, what was going on in his society. On the basis of the continuous factors going on in the society, his or her personality develop accordingly. The society, the social organizations, your society, your family background will decide what type of personality or what type of behavior or what type of reaction you will show to your present society. Environmental medicine. When we were in the CCH, and Dr. Sahani was there, when we were the member of Central Council of Homeopathy in the educational committee, I can remember that one suggestion or one proposal come from central government just to incorporate the environmental medicine within the medical education. So whatever my knowledge is concerned, this type of environmental medicine is already within the Ayurveda system. And you, being a homeopath, we know that this environmental medicine, the very basic essence, the idea behind the environmental medicine, it is already prevailing in our Organon of Medicine, in our homeopathic philosophy. So it may be new to modern medicine, environmental medicine, though I know that environmental diseases are there in the clinical medicine. But what was the thinking behind the environmental medicine, that how these environmental factors, what the multifactorial factors from the environment can be a cause of the evolution of a disease, especially in the perspective of chronic disease. So environmental medicine is very much important, like medical geography. If you have no idea about the uh, medical geography is a very wonderful one. You should have the idea about the medical. Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello. May I audible? May I audible?
Yeah.
Okay,
You are audible. Yes.
okay,
You continue.
okay. So medical geography, it is the wonderful thing that you should know that, like now I am from West Bengal, and the intestinal amoebiasis is very, very common in Calcutta, particular South Calcutta. It's very common. It is just endemic, like that, the intestinal amoebiasis. Even in the Orissa, in the seashore areas, they're very common in the Orissa, like the filariasis, so unilateral edema. It is very common. So medical geography is very, very important to know the disease. Even in the Goa, you know the Maharashtra, you know the Goa. The Goanese people, their serum creatinine level become very high. It has been observed that few sea fishes that they consume, that can cause the serum creatinine level high, serum hyperuric acid. It was a lot of researches going on in Maharashtra, in Goa areas, Goanese areas, just on the basis of why the chronic kidney disease, chronic renal disease is too much alarming in the Maharashtra, Goa areas. And it was the research. So we should have the knowledge of medical geography, which is very important to know the person in the society. So you can see the lot of things: ecology, geology, economics, international studies, finance, climate change, physics and engineering, environmental science, chemistry, political science, plant biology. Even I can add it, etc. There are so many things. Even right now, the pandemic situation is going on. So financial constraints, the financial strains can be the cause of any type of disorders. Right now, it's all the psychological disorders, all the stress-related disorders. Now you can see the lifestyle disorders. The finance is also one of the most important factors in a society. So these are the conditions that we should be thought of, and that then only your organon can be, not only that organon is searching the uh, dynamic causes. Dynamic and organon is against the materialistic causes. It is not like that. Organon consider the materialistic causes is one of the cause, but it is not the sole cause. The cause of the cause is something different, which is dynamic, which we should be known to all whenever you will be practicing homeopathy. Epigenetic network. So above or beside extends level beyond genes. Your idea is not confined within the genes. They're beyond the genes. There are epigenetic networks where all the environmental, where the medical geography, ecology, what were the previous slides of mine, all encompasses in the epigenetic network. And most of the right now, the researches are going on epigenetic network, and I will show you the fragmentation of illness into thousands of large and small illnesses, which can be nosologically classified, has certain advantages. Above all, that of allowing the subdivision of patients into identifiable groups according to precise diagnostic criteria. I will give you just little example. If you just fragment the disease pneumonia, right now you know pneumonia. What is pneumonia? It is the patchy inflammation of the lung parenchyma. So pneumonia is the, previously it was the patchy inflammation of lung parenchyma, but right now it is in the, as per definition of evidence-based medicine, the patchy inflammation of the lung parenchyma, but evidenced by the radiological opacities. So these pneumonias can be classified from pathological point of view. These pneumonias with the bacterial pneumonia, Diplococcus pneumoniae, with the fungal pneumonia, with the parasitic pneumonia, with the all other forms of pathological classifications of pneumonia. But how wonderfully now clinical medicine, it is not your homeopathy, it is not your organon of medicine, it is clinical medicine, how wonderfully just classified the pneumonia according to the symptomatology of pneumonia, like pneumonia which is or just mycoplasma pneumonia, different Legionella pneumonia with the cavitation, the Legionella pneumonia, streptococcal pneumonia, staphylococcal pneumonia, every pneumonia with the pathological differentiation, they have made the signs and symptoms different. So just seeing the signs and symptoms, even you can you can think of the what type of pneumonia this is. Psittacal pneumonia, you know psittacal pneumonia, which is very common in birds. The birds pneumonia, psittacal pneumonia, very nominal one, avian flu-like, but not very severe one. But it will pass within 5 to 6 days. Psittacal pneumonia. But if it is of Legionella, if it is of mycoplasma, that pneumonia, even the color of the, it is not rusty colored sputum like the simple liver pneumonia. Whenever it is mycoplasma or Legionella, the sputum will be dark, very dark. It is not rusty colored. So just by seeing the color, you can think of that it may be a Legionella type. It may be of mycoplasma type when the gravity is much more, the vacuoles are much more. So even the pathological individualization already made by the clinical medicine. It is in your Harrison, it is in your clinical medicine Davidson. You can get everything with this pathological differentiation. But what is the difference between the homeopathy and the pathological differentiation? They have not identified the man. They have only identified the disease. But it will help you, because we know that a disease in a particular society, the pneumonia in India or pneumonia in Maharashtra or pneumonia in Calcutta can have 5, 6 or 7 varieties. And if you identify the varieties, you can get the similar remedies, mathematical remedies against the each variety. So your homeopathy will be very specific at that time. Whenever you will get that your pneumonia patient having this and with the right-sided affection, with the much more salivation. So this is a mark salt type of variety, which is very common in mycoplasma. or Legionella when syphilis is predominant. Whenever there is very thick green and bland type of very huge greenish yellowish discharge with their like not like streptococcal or staphylococcal but or with severe, that may be in the form of pulsatilla, calisulf, natrum sulf type of this is homeopathic individualistic orientation apart from the disease wise orientation of pneumonia of clinical medicine. So there is no confrontation with clinical medicine and organon of medicine. Clinical medicine can individualize the disease with the signs and symptoms but without the man. And as a homeopath, we are individualizing the man with the disease. This is the basic difference. This is the basic difference. So whenever a disease will come in the as a man of organon of medicine, though I am in 22 years in clinical medicine, practice of medicine, Dr. Sanjiv probably missed as a man of Maitre Medica. I am not a man from Maitre Medica. I am a man from practice of medicine. More than 23 years I have been teaching in practice of medicine. And I have done my MD in organon of medicine. But how wonderfully I have observed that it is nothing, no confrontation. The same thing you can explain in your own language. So whenever practice of medicine part it is written in the slide that subdivision of the patients into identifiable groups. So group specificity. Whenever you will find a patient giving streptococcal pneumonia or staphylococcal pneumonia and with the symptoms of bryonia like that anything motion aggravate, anything with the dryness, with everything characteristic of bryonia, that type of pneumonia that may be streptococcal, staphylococcal pneumonia, but this is a type of bryonia pneumonia. So you will prescribe bryonia at Pune, you will prescribe bryonia at Calcutta, you will prescribe bryonia at Canada. The same type if the presentation is like that. And that also the disease pathology will be same like streptococcal and staphylococcal. This is the beauty of organon. Just it will guide to practice your clinical medicine. So nevertheless, this approach, which is closest to the criteria of evidence-based medicine, has dispelled the differences between individuals, neglecting their diverse subjective experience of suffering and often neglecting their personal identity as patients. Whenever being a physician, you will ask that what was your desire, what is your aversion, what is your intolerance, how you sleep, what is your salivation, what is your sexual instinct, what is your family history, what is your past history. So this type of thinking, this type of exhaustive case taking may not be in today's scenario, may not be adopted by the homeopathic patients. But whenever the disease with the minute pathological subdivision, they have subdivided into this, that pneumonia is divided into, classified into 10 types in Pune, at Pune or at Mumbai, and these 10 types has got one medicine of each, the 10 medicines. This is the Rustex, this is the Bryonia variety, this is the Maxwell variety, this is the Phosphorus variety, this is the Calcrea variety. So it is life specific remedy, and on the basis of this, homeopathy is the most specific whenever you will find the group specific. So you can't say homeopathy is not specific, we can give aconite to ginkgum. No, definitely homeopathy is more specific, but you have to identify the totality. You have to identify the group specific. If each medicine can be given to each disease, then there will be innumerable medicines required. This is not confined to only 2000 or 3000. So group specificity is very important. You have to identify that group. This is very important, and organon will guide you to make the group specificity. So concept differ from the disease individualization with the man in disease. We should concentrate ourselves man in the disease, the person in the disease, not disease in the person. We should not think that, like that, doctor, I have gout, I have hyperuric acid. So what medicine should you think of? Colchicum, Ledampal, Arnica? No. Bryonia, Rustex, Medrinum? No. We should think on the basis of that you are sick, dynamic sick. It may be your iatrogenic sick. You have taken medicine like that, any iatrogenic form for which uric acid level increase. It may be in the mechanical form. You have taken more and more red meat, beef, or heavy high proteins. So it is all those are mechanical causes. But why you have taken all these? Why the greed? You have the greed for red meats. It is abundance greed, more and more greed. So you are becoming greedy because your constitution is a typical constitution which made you greed. So you are sick. You are dynamically sick. So, as because you were sick, so because you were greedy, and greedy not in the normal form, it is the abnormal form, so it becomes the rubric of repertory in the abnormal form, and it is your tendency, it is your sickness, it is your dynamic sickness which make you more and more greedy, and then the secondary effect, then the effect will come, then the hypothyroidism will occur, then the obesity will come, then all the other disease, atherosclerosis may come, then the hyperuricemia may occur. This should be our concept. The concept differ. It is not that I have hyperuricemia, so you give my medicine. I am why I am sick. So the dynamic pathology behind that, the miasmatic tendencies behind that. Even I will show you that miasmatic tendencies is nothing very old one. It is the same thing. It is the precursor of the genomic project of today's scenario. So concept differs. The sick person, it is Alexis Carrel. You know the man, the unknown, the Alexis Carrel's wonderful book. And I love it. The book is a very old one, but very good one. The sick person has been divided into various regions, each of which has its own specialist. Such a specialist devotes himself to the study of a teeny part of the body, but in this way he remains so ignorant of the rest that he cannot even be said to know this part perfectly. It's a very wonderful thing. Even we have identified all the specialists, super specialists. We have made the super specialists. We have identified the ENT specialist. We have identified the neurologist, the chest specialist, cardiothoracic specialist, gastroenterologist, locomotor rheumatologist, liver specialist, everything, vascular disease specialist. But in between that, we have lost the man. We have lost the man. This is the Alexis Carrel. This is a wonderful quotation. It's from Man the Unknown. So homeopathy sets out to satisfy the demand currently felt by both medicine and society, which is that the patient be considered as a whole person in his or her physical and spiritual entirety. Now, when I was student, even Dr. Mukherjee was student or Dr. Sahani was student, their homeopathic conception at that time, the same thing told about the spiritual concept, the more than metaphysical concept, more than dynamic concept. But at that time, this was only the personal property like that of homeopathy or the spiritual medicine. But right now, the practice of medicine and the scientific community admit this social medicine, this spirituality, the holistic concept. This is the right now it is going on. Even it is reflected in WHO's definition of health. So the metaphysical concept of about the health or during the treatment of the patient, these are now well considered in our scientific era. Now holism, whenever we talk about holism, our vital force, even our section 9, wonderfully told about Dr. Sahani, and the section 10, without the vital force capable of no sensation, no function, no self-preservation, like section 10. So it tells about the holism, but right now in applied physiology, we can have the psychoneuroimmunology in a relatively new field of study that looks at the interactions between your central nervous system and your immune system. And Robert Eder, he passed away. Robert Eder is the inventor of this psychoneuroimmunology. And psychoneuroimmunology can be defined as the study of interactions between behavior, neural and endocrinal function and immune process. Ongoing research suggests that the mind and body share bidirectional influences, and the science of psychoneuroendoimmunology, and the neuroendocrinology identifies specific mechanisms by which these mind-body interactions are mediated. So whenever you will be feeling any grief, so your hypothalamus, your higher function, that will send some impulses to the lower part. And ultimately, some hormones, your endocrines will secrete some hormones. And that hormones, that endocrine part can cause the change in your physique, in your mental level, even not in your physique. Ultimately, whenever it will be long run, the change in the immunology part. So the psycho, neuro, endo, immunology can explain our concept of holistic our concept of vital force concept, our concept of even our holistic concept to the normal, the present society. And any homeopathic student, if the UG students are there, they should not feel inferior that what holism is called in homeopathy, what is telling about that. So everything is telling right now in normal physiology. So documentation of pathway of functional relationship between the brain and the immune system reinforces the hypothesis that immune changes could mediate some of the effects of psychosocial factors on health and disease. Very important. Very important factors. Nowadays, we are so much panicked about COVID-19, so much panicky, even since 2-3 months back. Now it is more or less, it was adapted by the society. But at large, all the older sections, even the younger sections, so much panic and so much depressed. And with the depression, with the lockdown situation, so their immunity also become very weak. So it is the direct evidence-based psychosocial factors, very important factors. That's why all the, you just think of from homeopathic point of view, just think of cosmopolitan type of activities, the pulsatilla or the tubercular activities, the cosmopolitan type who always want to travel. You think of tubercular activities, the tubercular diathesis. Within this lockdown situation, they must feel depressed. They must have feel depressed. Otherwise, they have to traverse on their own virtual world to go to the traverse to the all part of the world to the virtual. They have to adapt. Whenever there is no adaptation, they are immunologically also they become weakened. This is very important one. So brain activity linking negative emotions to lower immune response, it is documentally evidence-based against disease has been revealed for the first time, claim researchers. Many previous studies have shown that emotions and stress can adversely affect the immune system. It is already written in your Organon of Medicine how dynamically will influence. It is not the influence of bacteria, myasm, pathology. It is not the influence of virus, parasite only. All those are mechanical factors. All those are materialistic factors. But the behind the specifically, I will talk about chronic disease. I will talk about the disease of somatoform disorders like that or chronic disease. So their emotions plays one very important factor. We have to consider all this, and already it is written in our Organon of Medicine that our dynamic vital force, our health, whenever only dynamically influenced, then we become sick. So it is the evidence-based organ of medicine. The field of psychoneuroimmunology demonstrated that the immune system, it is very important one. You just concentrate. The immune system is not an autonomous. It is not that immune system will be exaggerated or will be decreased. It will be inspired or it will be depressed. Exclusively self-regulating system. No, immune system is not autonomous. Immune system is not exclusively self-regulating system. Neither is the brain devoid of influences emanating from immune signaling. Rather, the central nervous system and the immune system appear to interact with complex signaling and feedback loops for the protection and homeostasis of the whole organism. So whenever we have to maintain the homeostasis, you know homeostasis, you can remember our canon, the homeostasis. So to maintain the homeostasis, to make the adaptive with the social, with the environmental influences and your reaction, so there are multifactorial events. It is not your only immune system. So don't concentrate mechanically. You should know what is immunity, what are the markers, what are the factors. You should know everything of psychology. But don't think that these are the factors which can go automatic. So psychosocial factors, the triggering factors are in our domain in the mental part. So constitution. Some patients who were sensitive to the action, this is about the constitution because homeopathy tells about constitution. You know the constitution, we tell about constitutional treatment, the constitution of carbonitrogenate constitution, oxygenate constitution, different type of constitution, even our lymphatic constitution, different type of constitution. So what is the scientific evidence behind this? Some patients who were sensitive to the action of calcium carbonate presented similar morphological and psychological characteristics and similar morbid tendencies. The same observation could be made regarding subjects sensitive to other calcium salts like calcium phosphate, calcium fluoride. This concept very old. It was of 1920 by Dr. Nebel and the Leon Venier and many others. So don't think constitution is the property of only homeopathy. Constitution, the made this constitutional thinking, it is very much scientific. Even nowadays, the fundamental constitutional types tend to be recognized sulfuric, carbonic, phosphoric, with a further secondary type fluoric, which according to many experts is not an independent type and can therefore be combined with the others. So the same thing with 1920 Dr. Neville and the Leon Vanier. So please consider these constitutional types also it is in the science. Don't think that it is only philosophy of homeopathy. So in the light of modern genetic discoveries, the theory of constitutional types should not be seen as a rigid definition of patient categories. However, the fact remains that the chance to determine a patient's constitutional facilitates the homeopath to reach to the minimum in the absence of other supporting information. Even the patient is mum, or you right now in a pandemic situation, you can't connect the patient, but you can see the patient, you can't hear the patient, or you cannot make the bonding as face to face due to during lockdown situation. So but you can see the patient over the phone. Just by seeing the patient, just by thinking of his constitutional, you can have a clue to give some medicine. This is the unique form of constitutional approach. Also, in very many languages, it is called sensitive typology. It is very important also, sensitive typology. And right now, it is miasm. Lot of debate about miasm, the assumption and the evidence. You think it was of cholera miasm. Dr. Hahnemann, 35 years before Pasteur, in a study of the treatment of Asian cholera, 1831, at that time, even before Pasteur. So he said the cholera miasm find a favorable increase in invisible living creature so inimical to human life. So even he was so foresighted, Hahnemann, he told about miasm. And miasm, right now it is told, what is miasm? It is very old one. Right now we tell bacterial virus. No. The interpretation of miasm differs. Miasm may be in one part, miasm may be considered as bacteria virus. Miasm in other part may be considered as dynamic, discretious, your tendencies. Miasm may be as a constitutional weakness here. So the interpretation of miasm according to Hahnemannians, according to Kent, this differs. So miasm is very important. And the third point is very important, that whenever from the point of view the various symptoms presented throughout the patient's life are regarded as an evolution of an original infection, which must be taken into consideration if a complete and lasting cure is to be effective. This is very important. So the original infection, this is the miasmatic infection, this is very important. The miasmatic diagnosis of the individual is quite capable of proving the indication of physiological strengths and weakness, mental tendencies and susceptibility to illness, as well as different tendencies to disease, etc. of various types. So these are the miasmatic diagnosis. So these are the miasmatic diagnosis. You can think of our miasmatic tendencies like dental, like serrated teeth, like cup-shaped incisions, like yellow teeth, ivory white teeth, gingivitis, sensitive teeth. Why I am showing this? What is the connection with this with the organon of medicine? Because all these are the signs or symptoms of congenital syphilis. And these congenital syphilis, the tendencies are reflected in syphilitic miasms. So miasm is nothing ki upar se gira, or nothing something metaphysical, nothing something Bhagwan, something spiritual. It is very scientific. It is the pathological tendencies. So you just seeing the serrated teeth, just seeing the cup-shaped incisions, you can have the idea of the syphilitic miasm, the syphilitic tendencies, even the phimosis with the hair, with the long hairs. These are the typical scientific tendencies of the syphilis. And don't think your syphilitic miasm is very old. Right now at Calcutta Homeopathic Medical College, we are going through the research studies on the genetic, on the genomic studies. We are just going through the pilot study of the genomic studies, and we will collaborate all the other good institute like National Institute, like DND, or like Mahesh Bhattacharya, because our patients require much more. And we will diagnose the Sora genomics, syphilis genomics, and the psychotic genomics. We are lagging behind because Ayurveda already identified the Vayu Pitta Kapha. The Ayurveda already identified the genetic sequence of the Vayu predominant patients, the Pitta predominant patient, and the Kapha. It is called in Ayurveda. But in Sora syphilis psychosis in homeopathy, we still date we have not identified these dysplasias in the genomic form. So whenever I am talking right now, this syphilitic miasm, so it may appear that it is not scientific. It is the language of homeopathy. But whenever I will tell, according to the sequence of gene, according to the genetic sequence, that these are the syphilitic genomic study, this is the soric genomic studies, this is the psychotic genomic studies, then it will become very, very scientific. So keen physical observations, all these observations are found on the basis of Organon of Medicine. Everything, the hairy back, inverted pyramid, like it is found in your Robert's philosophy. You can get it in Philip's Pite, in Robert's philosophy. It is yellow teeth of tubercular, the blue sclera, big eyelashes. It is the signs of tuberculosis disease itself many days back. Whenever it was the first edition, second edition of Practice of Medicine, Harrison, Davidson, you can find the big eyelashes, the blue sclera is found in tuberculosis. It is written in clinical medicine book. But right now it is seen in observed in tubercular diathesis of homeopathic concept. It is not now in clinical medicine, because now clinical medicine become evidence-based medicine when tuberculosis can only be judged through 2 or 3 clinical symptoms only, and with all the chest X-ray symptoms, chest X-rays, TC disease, your sputum AFP, and even with the ELISA for coughs. These are the parameters. But previously, the parameters was clinical. When clinical, the symptoms or signs were the typical odor of tuberculosis, the typical eyelashes of the tuberculosis. These were found in tuberculosis disease itself. Now it is within our miasmatic trait. So don't feel inferior about the concept of miasmatic. It is the trait. It is the tendencies. It is the from very beforehand. You can have idea through this trait. And it is whenever I am talking about miasm, you are thinking I am very old one. I am going to back. But whenever I am talking about genetic sequence, you are talking, doctors are talking very scientifically. So it is nothing new. The same thing. Even Hahnemann was so foresighted, he saw the miasm from the very beforehand. This is the genetic predisposition. This is the latest one. The genetic predisposition, even in Delhi, in Maharashtra, few many, but in Delhi specifically, the genetic, it is very costly, but the genetic treatment is very much available right now in Delhi. And if you I will advise the students to go to see, observe the genetic treatment and all the questionnaire asked by the genetic doctors. Even you will feel astonished that whether the genetic specialists have a qualification in homeopathy, BHMS or DMS or MD, because all the questionnaire just like our homeopathic case taking. So genetic predisposition results from specific genetic variations that are often inherited from a parent. So we may feel superior that Dr. Hahnemann concept of miasm, it is the precursor of this genetic predisposition. These genetic changes contribute to the development of the disease, do not directly cause it. Some people with a predisposing genetic variation will never get the disease, while others will, even with the same family. This slide also supports the concept of homeopathy, the individualization. I can show you numerous examples that with HLA B27 positive, but throughout the life, never the symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis develop. Not a single, but having ankylosing spondylosis develop, having HLA B27 positive, because the circumstances, halat kharab nahi hua, favorable uska jo environment never went to very bad situation. So accessory circumstances was very good. So having the HLA B27 positive, as because his miasmatic trait was not very devastating, and as because his environment was very good, so he totally not developed the disease. So it is the unique beauty of individualization. So in which person, कौन सा बीमारी, कौन सा आदमी में होगा या नहीं होगा, in which disease, in which person it will appear or not appear, that will be depending on multiple factors: genetic trait, miasmatic dysplasias, environment, accessory circumstances, everything. So don't think your Organon of Medicine a very back one, older one. Recent development, there is the Human Genome Project. We are working on that at Calcutta Homeopathic Medical College. We are working on that. scientists, we are making the pilot study. We have made it, and we will made it in collaboration with all other state general hospitals like DND, Mahesh Calivin with the NIH. So we have made it. The ground, it's a very good study. In fact, genomics and epigenetic systems and the multivariate based research methods will be the only route by which homeopathy can attract much greater scientific consideration. Whenever you will talk, you will speak the language of Organon, all the scientific community will say you are backdated. But whenever our concept, whenever will be translated, will be innovated in the language of science, then the same community will say, oh, your homeopathy is very scientific, though it is very old. Your homeopathic case taking 83 to 104. It is nothing new, it is very good one. But you just think of counseling. We have made the bondage, we have made the doctor-patient relationship that may be active-passive, that may be teacher-student, that may be father-daughter, like typical different type of relationship with the doctor-patient relationship. We have made the bond. And actually, right now, the modern medicine physicians, they are thinking, they are now again reintroducing the family medicine disease, the family medicine doctors. Why? Why? Because within the super specialties, they have missed the family physician doctors concept. The primary health sectors, whenever is very weak, when your leg is too weak and you are becoming very fatty, so your health system will destroy. Our Indian economy, our primary health system is so poor, and you can see the tertiary level of super specialty hospitals in all the cities like metro cities, Calcutta, Mumbai, Chennai, Pune, Maharashtra. You can get all the big hospitals, but you go to the primary health centers and you see the infrastructure, and it's very bad. So family medicine concept, this is now known to our government. So now government is giving emphasis on the family medicine course, the emphasizing on the social medicine, emphasizing on the RBSK doctors, emphasizing on the deployment of the Ayush doctors to modern medicine. These are the factors, because we have to strengthen our primary health service. And doctor-patient relationship is the bondage, is the very unique bondage which we have. Already we have. But right now in modern medicine, they have to go through the courses of the ethics, of the bonding, of the humanity. So this is already in our Organon of Medicine. The counseling. So you are becoming the counselor. I am the counselor. I have to counsel. Nothing. What new? It is already in our 83 to 104, even in the 210 to 2030 within the mental disease, that how will you behave in the chamber? How will your talking? How will your reaction to the psychological patient, to the pediatrician? Everything is written in your Organon. Who says your Organon is very old? It's very backdated. So counseling is nothing new. You just go through the counseling Webster's dictionary. Counseling means consultation, mutual interchange of opinion, deliberating together. Counseling is a face-to-face relationship in which growth takes place in the counselor as well as in the counseling. Everything, it is well known to us. So whenever it is we can feel superior, because whenever we are taking the case, simultaneously we have started the counseling. During taking the long exhaustive case taking, we have already started the counseling part. It is our unique weapon. So whatever our, in the management, it is the SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, threat. This is our strength. The counseling part, the case taking part is our strength. Miasmatic dyscrasias, to know the tendencies from beforehand, this is our strength. Where we have weakness, to present our data in the language of science, this is our weakness. But we have the opportunity. Why we have the opportunities? Because the science is now coming to our philosophy. The science, whenever science cannot be explained, it is called philosophy. And PhD is it is a big one than MD. So the philosophy ranks higher than the general concept, general materialistic concept. So when homeopathy cannot be explained, could not be explained, it was called philosophy. Right now, when all the philosophy of homeopathy is explained, then it will become scientific. All these philosophical concepts, and you will agree that all philosophy can never become scientific, because it is said by Osler, when practice of medicine will become totally mechanical, when practice of medicine will be devoid of art, at that day the medicine will die. This medicine is not your Organon of Medicine. This medicine is your clinical medicine. So we let not die the clinical medicine by devoiding the art. What was the artistic part? Artistic part with the case taking, artistic part making the bondage, artistic part with the sympathetic feeling to the patient, artistic part to know the patient in his society, to go through the newspaper regularly. This is also the artistic part. Without knowing the society, you cannot build the man like a MBA specialist, like a super specialist hospitals just to making money. This is also evidence based in our Organon of Medicine. The first aphorism, our mission is to mission. I am not talking about religious mission, our calling, our aim. So our mission is to treat the disease, to seek to health. This is already written. So this is evidence based. This is the man who founded the psychology part, the pioneer of entirely new methods in the treatment of mental patients, who advised just don't torture the mental patient. This is the person. And do you think the 17th footnote of moral remedy, how wonderfully he told. And right now in the psychosomatic era, in the era of our somatoform disorders, mostly no medicine required. Only you talk, main hu na. I am the doctors. I am the family physician. I know everything. I can see your frustration. I can see your rage. I can see your humiliation. But main hu na, I am the doctors. I know everything. You just give surrender to me. I am the doctor. So give the moral remedy. Give the moral remedy. How wonderfully, as because it is also homeopathy. If he is very psychotic, so fixed ideas, the fixed ideas may be psychotic, may be syphilitic. The syphilitic fixed ideas will destroy the patient. Psychotic fixed ideas can do anything. Whenever anything can say that you do it, he will do it because he is predominantly psychotic. So these type of patients depends on their miasmatic traits or constitutional weakness, they will react to different situations. As a homeopathic physicians, you should give the moral remedy. How wonderfully he said, dissipated by an identical cause. If he is thinking that in this pandemic situation, everything will die, every man will die, and I will die because I have the comorbidity of more than 5 diseases, and I am alcoholic, I have the 5 comorbidity disease, so I will die, I must die. And on the basis of that consumption, that fixed ideas, he died before he become COVID positive. So you should be a counselor there. No medicine is required. Just to make believe that with all the comorbidities, you till that you are not COVID positive, and if you maintain all the precaution, you will not be a victim of COVID-19. This type of thinking, the moral remedy we have, the somatoform disorders. Right now, it is the chapter in clinical medicine of Davidson and Harrison, the somatoform disorders. Already we know about the 210 to 2230, that how the physical symptoms disappear and the mental symptom come. So it is nothing new to us. And relevancy of the introduction part, the theoretical medicine of Organon in the present era, and you just think of theoretical medicine. What is written in your Organon? If the PG, any Organon is here, they can just open the book of Organon and again go through the theoretical medicine, the footnote and the introduction part. Everything is Hahnemann criticized the modern medicine in very many instances in the introduction. I am not criticizing modern medicine. Modern medicine is there. Whenever modern medicine will there, the homeopathy will be survive. Whenever there is no medicine, modern medicine, homeopathy will not also survive. I am not criticizing. But what is the important here? That is the relevancy of theoretical medicine. At that time, they were searching for cause, searching for bacteria, virus. The same thing is going on here. World Health Organization, if you have a record since long to update that whatever their statement regarding the cause of the disease, you will be surprised that one after another changing and again to another. So they are still running behind the cause. They are not considering what is our approach to the society, how we are becoming the very selfless, we are becoming the very selfish person. We are confined ourselves. We are making too much psychotic type of mentality. We are making our destruction of all the environment. So we are destroying everything. We are destroying environment. We are destroying ourselves. We become greedy. We are running behind the money. We are running behind the fame. We are just to earn money and to get everything, to be a conqueror of this world. So this virus, the struggle for existence, the survival of the fittest, this virus just taking the test of the human being, that whether you survive or might survive, because you are mutating your genes. You are mutating your genes, so bacteria, virus can mutate. Have you gone through the concept antigenic drift? So now the virus is going through the antigenic drift. They are changing their antigenicity in a very quick manner. So you can't make vaccines. Whatever vaccines may be prepared by all over the world, till date there is no vaccine of dengue, there is no vaccine of AIDS, and the same fate will be to this pandemic situation. Even this vaccine will not give you 100% protection, even the 50% protection. And you know what is the probability? The probability is always 50-50. But they will claim, the vaccine will claim, but homeopathy cannot claim. Homeopathy cannot claim. I don't know why. So the materialistic search continues. Materialistic search continues. And do you think any change? You just see the condition. The same thing is happening. The same thing is happening with the thing. Any change with the theoretical medicine? So right now, the another point, apart from the individualistic part, apart from the miasmatic discretions, apart from the case taking, apart from the holistic concept, the last another concept of homeopathy is law of minimum. I feel very pleasure that the modern medicine is now considering our philosophy. The de-prescribing is very much important. Right now, it is advised by the modern medicine about the single molecule. The antibiotic concept era will be finished within 1 or 2 years even. It was destined up to 2020, but maybe 1 or 2 years extension of antibiotic. But the concept of single molecule, concept of one molecule, giving one molecule, it is not that pantoprazole will be effective to all. Omeprazole will be effective to all. Particularly a group of patients may be very much, they are susceptible to pantoprazole. Another group may be susceptible to omeprazole. Another group may be another molecules. So the individual variations with the man, it is not the same medicine to all. The same thing, and with the very minimum, law of minimum. I just advise, I will take the reference of the homeopathic influences by the Catherine Coulter. Very short books. It is not available right now, but you can get it in the old libraries at NIH libraries or any good libraries, national libraries, or in the foreign Jain publications, if they can bring the homeopathic influences by Harris Coulter, when wonderfully where he gave the reference how homeopathic system of medicine influenced by the homeopathic philosophies, with giving the reference of all the Lancet, etc., journals. Right now, de-prescribing, WHO and all the advisories, they are advising that don't go through multiple medicines. Just keep one medicine, one molecule, single molecule, even no so much repetition. So without knowing or knowing, they are following our philosophy. And within the already 2 days back, it was declared that there will be one system of medicine only. Within the one system, there will be modern medicine, homeopathy, Ayurveda. So there is no confrontation. The same thing, all the scientific things, nowadays it is called scientific things, which was scientific thought 200 years back by the Organon of Medicine. So we have the challenges. We have the challenges of autoimmune disorders. We have the challenges of these, because these are misdirected immune response, loss of self. Homeopathy has got its immense scope in these autoimmune disorders, and I think the government will consider the homeopathy in like mother and health disease in the autoimmune disorders, because they have got no answer and their philosophy contrary to the development of these diseases. So homeopathic concept can be very much applicable to autoimmune disorders. These are our challenge, and the one challenge with this pandemic situation, that is the re-emerging of infectious disease. Even if any PG students are here who can go through the journals, in 2000 since 2015, 2015, 2016 ICMR bulletin. In the bulletin, it was the challenge in the ICMR bulletin about the re-emerging of infectious disease. So they understood that the infectious disease again will reappear. It is not that smallpox gone, measles gone. Nowadays, it is not fixed miasm like only one time smallpox. Now smallpox can occur twice, thrice, even measles within 4 or 5 times measles. So re-emerging of infectious diseases, it is our challenge, and I can assure you that with the constitutional treatment, with the concept of environmental medicine, with the concept of accessory circumstances medicine, with the homeopathy, with the holistic concept, we can beat this re-emerging of infectious diseases. The concept of hormesis in the concept of homeopathic pharmacology, you know, the so many, if the same dose is in the very huge, it's a very big that can kill. The same dose in the very small, it can cure. The concept of personalized medicine in the context of constitutional diagnosis and the genomic study I already told. So these are our challenges. These are molecular correlation we have made. My PhD study was on the basis of that molecular correlation on the homeopathic principle of symptom similarity, water memory theory, biological template theory, spectral signature and standardization of drugs, quantum electrodynamics, QED. It is the latest one, coherent domain. These coherent domains, these nanoparticles of Bellary or biological template theory of Mahata or water memory theory, all the theories, this is not new theory. All these theories can explain your organon of medicine in the new form. I can give you one example. This was my PhD work. I did PhD in 2017. I got this under WBHS, West Bengal University of Health Science. My correlating conventional homeo method of treating osteoarthritis and RA with method of matching biofluid spectra with medicine spectra. If you give me one standardized, we just what we made it to put the fundamental principles of homeopathy under the framework of science is one of the greatest scientific challenges of the day. We selected medicine for several cases like osteoarthritis and seropositive RA. The frequency domain signature for dielectric functions of these medicines and blood serum of the patients recorded with experimental setup. This was our experimental setup. Within our laptop, we have made this experimental setup. The work was done in IIEST, Indian Institute of Science and Technology, one IIT institute. My PhD work was done. And you can see this is the spectrum for guaiacum and with the spectrum of the biofluid. So right now in this device, in this laptop, I have the instrument that just by giving your blood fluid and with the matching of the medicines of the spectral signature, I can say that whether the medicine is similimum or not, whether the medicine is similar to not. You can see the spectrum of guaiacum with the spectrum of biofluid. You can see the spectrum of sulfur with the spectrum of biofluid, another patient. You can see the similarity. You can see the similarity, but here you cannot see the similarity in natrum mur where 23.8 megahertz and the biofluid 24.9. So it differs. So as because it differs, so you can see there is natrum mur no improvement. But in guaiacum and sulfur, as because spectral signature is there, it was similar, so there was improvement. The study was double blind. So right now, as because I got PhD and study completed, the study finished, so I can show you the result. The same thing in another study. It is already published in 2 peer-reviewed journals. That spectra for biofluid of you can see the peak. These are same. But whenever it is part of just the thuja, you can see the thuja. It is not the same. In case of thuja, it was 23.6. It is 28.6 of thuja, and you can see also the spectra for thuja. It is not. And if we another one, and right now it is the part where you can see that in medorinum and then thuja, no improvement because the spectral signature don't match. The patient's body fluid spectral signature with the indicated remedy spectral signature didn't match. Whenever there is no matching, no improvement. So it is, I am not telling that this type of treatment you will be advising, but it is a crude attempt to establish our concept of similarity, symptom similarity during treatment in the language of science. So it is our part of improvement not observed, close matching of resonance frequencies in case of benefit is vindication of homeo principle at molecular level. So this was our attempt. So global paradigm shifting is going on. So all should remain cautious because whatever it was told that homeopathy, organon, it was our property, but right now it will be a property of all because the concept of these holistic, the concept of individualization, concept of tendencies of miasmatic trait, these are all now taken by science, taken by scientific community. So being a homeopath, we should remain very aware that the scientific community is accepting our concept, accepting the Organon of Medicine books, what is written. It was not old. All the philosophically can be explained in the language of science. So dynamic over linear and materialistic view of health, this is going on. So it is very important. So, and you see, it is the World Health Organization Health 2020 European Policy Framework and Strategy for the 21st century. So what was the strategy for 21st century? Dynamic over linear and materialistic view of health. They have accepted acupuncture. They have accepted the material non-linear dynamic concept. They have accepted the holistic concept. They have accepted our homeopathic philosophical concept of the disgracious, of the individualistic concept. So thank you all. That I just, it is a small attempt to establish our organon of medicine, still rational, and it is not backdated one. Whatever part you think backdate, you make your update, because in all those parts you will get etc. Our master already kept your provision to make your organon update in 67 places you can get etc. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Dr. Rajat sir, for your really informative deliberation. You talked about cross-sectional study, including social medicine, environmental medicine, physical appearance, doctor-patient relationship, and many more. Even you touched over present situation created by COVID-19 also. So thank you so much for your nice presentation. Now it's a time to question answer session. If anyone has any queries, any question, you may write in chat box, and our expert, today's expert, they will answer your question. And after that, we'll go for the valedictory session, and our chairperson is over there. So after that, we will sum up. So if you have any question, the participants, if you have any question, you may write in chat box. We will go further. Any queries?
Thank you so much, sir. There is a question in the chat box.
Yeah, just go ahead.
From Dr. Bob. A 42-year-old woman married late. Yes, sir. A 42-year-old woman married late at 38 years. First marriage wants to conceive. Is it possible?
Definitely possible. It is depending. It is depending. It is depending on the on her. Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yes, sir.
It is dependable on her physical status, the condition of her uterus, ovary, and even on the husband's semen analysis. It is possible, but it will be risky pregnancy. You have to safeguard, but it is possible. Why it will not be possible? If everything is okay, then the pregnancy may occur. Pregnancy definitely occur. If the husband, wife, all the conditions are good, then it will be good. But it will be risky pregnancy. It will be very taken a precaution every time. So it may happen. Okay. There is no
Okay,
other
sir.
question.
Not yet, sir. We'll wait. We can wait wait a minute for people to answer the
Yeah.
queries. Pose the queries.
I think we can go through the valedictory session.
Yes, Dr. Eska, is there any more question?
Yes, sir. As you say,
No more question is there, no?
not yet, sir. Only one question
Okay,
was
okay.
posted.
Okay, so now we
Not
can
yet,
proceed.
sir.
Okay, so now we are proceeding to,
As you feel fine, sir. If we'll have a question, we'll discuss it.
yeah, okay. So now we are proceeding to valedictory session, and I request our chairperson, dynamic Dr. Jadhav sir, to summarize and give remarks to over the presentation of today. Dr. Jadhav sir. Your mic is sir muted. So kindly unmute your mic, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Audible.
I'm thankful to the first speaker, Dr. M.K. Sahani ji, for the advanced study and homeopathic approach. Uniform chapter concepts. He has started it since birth of the person, then amoeba, and covered all the holistic approaches with the man concept of man in disease and man in health, man in life, and which gives us a different solutions with the help of the metaphysics, visibility and invisibility, and a relation between learning, training, teaching, and research. Nowadays, research is most important because we have to fight with the other medical sciences. And as Dr. The second speaker, Dr. Rajat Chatterjee, speak very well about the concepts of the medical sciences now. It will not be a different medical sciences. The all together will be considered, and that is going to be come shortly. And there we, our homeopaths, those who are true homeopaths and since beginning, they spend about half of the life, like M.K. Sahani and Rajat ji, in the study of the homeopathic medical science, with the advancement and equal to the research activities. Because when we are good enough in the learning, teaching, and training, but we are lacking in the research activities. And unless we are not doing research comparative with the other medical sciences and with the approach of the other medical sciences, it is very difficult to survive equal to them. And it will be uh, very impossible for our students, today's generation, who has to be a next practitioners, like your UG or undergraduate students. They have to fight for their their entity, their presence in the future, because you know the locality or communication of the or the community of the our India especially, they trust on the what results they are getting. They least bother about the concepts. They least bother about the material used for the medicine, as a medicine for treating them. So ours is the holistic approach, but we must come away with the help of such a lectures, because these both lectures are very resourceful. Means one must go through it completely and draw some notes, and what is to be true and what is not to be true. That must be find out from these lectures, because it is a word knowledge. It is worldwide knowledge. The both lectures were given, and both speakers correlated very well, and they never left their basic idea, the concept of the homeopathy anywhere, and that is the essence of these both lectures. So I would like to say that those who are beginners, those who are new undergraduate, postgraduate students, or the guest practitioners, or the surviving practitioners, they must get notes of such activities and make a note of the does and does not. So we can prove it to the society, it to the medical sciences of the other faculty. Because I, since beginning, started my projects at the level of the other medical sciences. Even our students started doing it on the mice, lower animal. Actually, it is as per the homeopathic concept, lower animals are not to be uh, worthy for the proving medicine or the treating, or it must be harmless. But we tried it on lower animals and got certain results. And with the help of the other medical sciences, basic sciences, even you can take physics, chemistry, biology, and some subject related with the research, biotechnology and nanotechnology. And the experts were there whose we took help by giving us our concept and basic knowledge about the homeopathic paternity, homeopathic treatment, homeopathic concepts, and we were very happy. Our students are also very happy. They published that all papers in the um, UGC recognized journals, and it is made compulsory to the all PG students that at least two papers they must publish before confirming degree upon them. Likewise, it is five papers for the postgraduate teachers that UGC recognized journal must publish their papers. So there we find the other medical sciences teachers or consultants, you can say, experts, you can say, they are very helpful. Once they will get the information, they are very helpful and happy after getting the results, and they are our spokespersons to say about the concepts of the homeopathy, how they are coming into practice, and how the homeopathy is a work on the scientific basis also, because this is the new era and this is advanced mechanism nowadays, that you have to prove yourself. Only giving the references of the aphorisms of the organon philosophy or the holistic concept is not sufficient, but it is challenge. And I think because of these both lectures, it is found that the new generation, whatever is coming in this era, will definitely get the benefit of your both lectures. So your experience, likewise, you spread all the times on the different concepts and have certain literature also, because we are lacking in the research literature. So different concepts, but it must be not too big to understood. The certain fragments must be made, and certain limitations must be made for the certain things, and certain concepts must be fixed on that basis. So is the needful for that, and I hope the further generation will take care of it, and these concepts will be come into effect, and definitely our science will get equality with the other medical sciences by uh, uh, research concepts, because afterward, if the lay person will get treatment from the any would like to get treatment from any homeopath, and if now from last year, allopathic courses, MBBS course, have certain involvement of the Ayush subjects, because we are running a medical college also. So that principal came to me and asked some expert from our science. Also, he took from the Ayurveda science, and their basic first year batch, those who were admitted recently last year, during their principal's address, they gave information about the homeopathic concept, homeopathic approach, homeopathic science, as well as Ayurveda science also. So, if they will get easily known to the homeopathy and homeopathic approaches, definitely patient will divert afterward towards them rather than our true homeopaths. So that will be the mess in the future. So we now, if though even though the concept is not clear of the central government or the society, that equally they will treat us, that allopathic knowledge they will give. That is not clear. Only they are made that vice versa in the Niti Ayog's later, vice versa. Not, but I don't think that all together will allow us to get that concept. So there we shall be treated in different way, and the allopath who is having Ayurveda or homeopathic knowledge, they will be understood by the public in different way. So there will be failing. That's why we must have achieved our knowledge through this homeopathic concept and holistic approach by the research equal to the other medical sciences, and we must prove it, how our drug is working on the molecular level, how we are working on the dynamic level, because nanodynamics just came before 35 years back in the society. But Hahnemann has made it to more than 200 years back that the morbific agent is the cause behind the medicine, like Maya. So he was too much advanced rather than the other medical sciences, and accordingly, we should do the further study. And it is a challenge for the new homeopaths or budding homeopaths to prove ourselves equal to the other medical sciences, so we can survive very well. For that sake, our whatever our syllabus may be there, it is just basic and it is a guideline. It is not completely as a whole, complete as a whole, because we must learn and we must give extra knowledge to the students, and students must also be ready for that. Definitely, we will be a successful further. And I would like to have such a sessions in future also. It is very nice, and if it will be on the certain fixed principles, means at the fixed concept and limited, it will be more easier to understood the others. So it is a heavy material for the students to get it immediately understood. So I will appeal the organization that you better make a notes of it, apply some minds over there, certain sincere students, and make notes of it, and what you find in these teachers and what will be our path afterward because of this lecture, because these lectures are very, very, very important and very, very knowledge catering lectures. And I'm very much thankful both of the speakers, because I know MK Sani sir is just like my guru. He is Pitama of the homeopathy as per my opinion, because I observing him since 35 years, and I know his concept and he is zeal to the homeopathy. I work with him in the Central Council many times. Whatever problems are there, I simply ask him and get guidance of him. So accordingly, we shall be further. This series must go on, and different speakers may be given chance, and different understanding must be spread all over the fraternity of our citizens. With these few words, I shall conclude myself with saying thanks to the organizers, attended, the audience, and most important to the our speaker, dynamic speakers, as well as our co-chairman. Even he was busy in the journey, traveling. He attended it very well, and I'm thankful for the giving me this chance and listening me in a smooth manner. Thanks to you once again to all. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jadhav sir. Very nicely you have overviewed the presentation of today's, and rightly said. There is a big challenge, especially for the new generation, to compete. So I think and I hope that the new generation will definitely inspired and get excited after listening you, and definitely do they will do hard work to improve their self and to improve the homeopathic situation of homeopathy. So thank you so much, sir, for being with us. And now it's a time to vote of thanks. And I thanks Homeopathy 360 family, Dr. Yasika Arora and Mr. Manish Jain for providing such a wonderful platform and organizing all these things. I request Dr. Yasika to yeah, thanks our speakers and all the people, those who are associated with us and the participants, and announce the tomorrow's program. Dr. Yasika, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your nice moderation. Sir, it was a great session, I would say, by Dr. M.K. Sani sir first, and then Rajat sir. I always love to listen to both of them and learn from them a lot. So it was a great session, I would say, and I would like to present my gratitude and a big thanks to both of them, as well as our chairpersons and co-chairpersons, Dr. Arun Jadhav sir, as well as Dr. Shamal Mukherjee sir. Dr. Shamal Mukherjee sir was having some technical issues, so he has not joined us for the ending session. So thank you so much, and thanks to Dr. Amit Sahani sir and Dr. Sanjiv Kumar Singh sir for being with us throughout this series. And tomorrow is the last day of this series, and we'll be ending up this session tomorrow, and we'll be joining at 11 o'clock tomorrow again with two great speakers on two different topics. I would just tell you the topics. We'll have Dr. Bhavik Parekh on does integration represent an advance in the teaching of fundamental of homeopathy, and we'll be having Dr. Abhijit Chakma sir from CCRH on how to write a research proposal to obtain approval from institutional ethical committee. So tomorrow is going to be a great to be great sessions on two different topics. So I hope everybody will join us tomorrow again. And I think if you still have any queries regarding any of the doubts you have, you can mail us at webinar@homeopathy360.com. We'll be trying to reach to you, and tomorrow only you will be getting the certificates. So kindly don't worry. You will be getting the certificates for the whole series tomorrow after the webinar ends. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sari sir. Thank you, Jadhav sir. Thank you, Sham.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Rajat sir.
for a nice opportunity for us. And thank you, Dr. Jadhav ji, very much. And thank you, Rajat ji, Dr. Sanjiv.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
We'll meet again, sir. We'll meet again.